shifter. You ever heard the take, there's plenty of fish in the sea? I'll tell you why I'm outside in a second. That take is just wrong, and I love ruining it for people. There's plenty of fish in the sea. You know, people usually say there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's 8 billion people in this world. You know, just go find another one. You know, just go out there and you know, find your fish. True, there is 8 billion people in this world, but not quite in the context that you mean it. When people say there's plenty of fish in the sea, what they mean to say is that there's plenty of other people that you could meet that will better suit your romantic interests. And I love ruining this for people. I've ruined this for many of friends of mine. This isn't true. Let's think about it real quick. 8 billion people in this world. How many of those people are you going to meet? Meet being a very loose term. I'll tell you why I'm outside in a second, by the way. Don't worry about it. Meet is a very loose term. Meet being you just see them. You see them crossing the street, walking, driving, whatever. See them anywhere between, again, this is all like rough estimates. I don't have any like data to back this up really. Let's give it an estimate of anywhere between 300 to 500,000 people. 500,000 people being a lot of fucking people. Oh, I can't curse this early in the video. It's fine, whatever. Meet being a very loose term. Let's say half of those you actually interact with. Again, interact being a very loose term. Interact meaning you say hello. They maybe know your name. Let's say that's another half. Let's say half of those people you have somewhat of an intimate relationship with. Again, intimate being very loose term. You have multiple conversations. They 100% know your name. You see them often. Another half. Let's say even half of those people are the opposite gender of you, if you're attracted to that. If you're attracted to the opposite gender or the same gender or whatever. Let's say that's another half. Let's say another half of those people are people that you find attractive. And let's say even another half of those people are people that find you attractive. And give it another half of those people that you're actually compatible with in a romantic relationship. Out of all of those people, what was that buzzing next to me? Well, anyways, I don't know how many times we've halved this number, but I'm going to give a rough estimate here. The amount of people in your life that you can meet where you can have a successful romantic relationship with, it's probably in the range of anywhere between 100-ish people and very optimally like 300 to 400 people. And this is over a lifetime, meaning like 80 plus years. That's not a lot of people. There's not that many fish. Why am I crushing your hopes and dreams? And why am I outside? I saw this video of this girl recording like a podcast type video in her car. And I was like, you know what? I have free will. I can just go outside and record things because I have a phone. And so I just did that. Now I'm outside recording things. Why am I talking about the fish thing? This video is about romance media, specifically romance anime, because that's the only thing I have watched. I don't really watch that many rom-coms or stuff. Giving you unrealistic expectations of how romance works in the real world. The fish thing isn't true, but it's not true. Oh God, it's so hot out here. And this is my second time recording this video because I recorded it the first time and I realized my phone was vertical, meaning it won't fit in the screen of a YouTube video. So I'm so parched. Anyways, it's untrue because the premise is that you're trying to find your fish, the one. I'm here to tell you that although the one does exist, it is a thing, you're probably never gonna find them, right? This one is a real study. I think it was by some sort of scientist. I don't remember. It's been a while since I read this. I'll put it up on screen if I find it. This scientist said that out of 8 billion people in this world, there are probably 10,000 of those people that are perfect for you specifically, for any given individual. Oh God, so sorry, I burped into the mic. I should probably cut that out. 10,000 is a big number because I told my friend and I expected him to be like, wow, really? But like he said, no, like 10,000 is a large number, and it is. But if you've ever done, like, I play Pokemon, if you ever shiny hunted before, you know how bad those odds are. 8 billion. 10,000 out of 8 billion. Those are really, really bad odds. You probably have a better chance of winning the lottery multiple times. I think the lottery is like 1 in 5 bill or 1 in 5 mil. I don't think it's that bad. Anyways, you're probably that's based on the notion that you're going to find the perfect partner, and romance animes builds this expectation perfectly. I watched a lot of romance animes at a very lonely part in my life, and I think it built this expectation for love that I have now. And obviously, it's not like the fault of the romance anime. The romance anime played on a lot of my childhood and current insecurities. Either some sort of insecurity of feeling abandoned, out of some sort of insecurity of feeling unwanted, out of some sort of insecurity of wanting to prove myself to people. That's what they really play on. But, you know, they reinforce those negative emotions by telling you that there's like a way out, and that way out is like a romantic relationship. And I'm not gonna lie to you, romantic relationships do help with all of that stuff, but they don't fix it, right? You fix it. Anyways, the expectation that the romance anime set isn't like the lovey-dovey stuff, like the kissing and the sex and all that, because we're all horny, we all like that stuff, and that stuff is pretty easy. The expectation I found that they set is the expectation of understanding, that your partner understands you in a deep way. A lot of these rom-coms and romantic animes really play on it's getting so hot out here. And I was debating taking my shirt off on the previous take of this video, and I didn't, but I might do it this video because it's blazing out here. Anyways, they build on this expectation of understanding, your partner understanding you on a deep emotional level. It makes you feel safe because it takes away the burden of you having to understand yourself, which is also very difficult. You wanna know what the kicker is? No one is ever going to do that for you ever. You wanna know why? Because you can't even do that for you. It is so incredibly difficult to understand yourself. And you expect somebody with completely different life experiences, with a completely different outlook on the world, with completely different just moral callings in general, like just to understand you. Very, very, very unlikely. But they do build this expectations. You wanna know why they build this expectation? Because the anime character or the rom-com character or whatever, they have what you don't have, someone that was literally written for them. They have a partner that was created to be with them. A good example I like to bring up is an anime called My Dress Up Darling. I've talked about this anime before. The general premise is that this guy, he's more of a loner, he makes dolls. Making dolls isn't the most masculine hobby, so obviously people make fun of him and they don't understand his hobby. Then there's this girl, and her hobby is cosplaying and stuff. Again, not the most like girly hobby, even though like now it's getting to be. But anyways, they find each other, and even though they're two very different people from two very different backgrounds, they find an understanding within each other. She gets how important it is to him. He gets how important things are to her, and they understand each other in a deep emotional way. And that is what's so attracting about the rom-coms and all that. The fact, oh, that's my bag. The idea of finding the one, the person that was like comically written for you. I realized that this isn't possible for two big reasons. A, the relationship that happened in my life. I've been through a lot of like relationship turmoil lately, and you know, it's really like a go-to. Dude, I am sweating. Maybe like recording videos outside wasn't the best idea. The big, you know what? I'm taking this off. I'll go off cam. It's not like a thirst trap or anything. I swear, I'm just really, really hot. Jesus Christ. Okay, so the big thing that you want to do immediately after any form of like relationship turmoil or anything is you want to blame the other person, right? You want to find things that they did wrong. And I'm not saying for any of my friends, oh God, watching this video, or my family watching this video, that I was, Jesus Christ, what am I leaning on? That hurts. That I was like the only one that did things wrong and that the other person wasn't to blame at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying probably the more productive thing to do is to find responsibility, right? And I think I was hung up on there being this perfect person. There being this person that will understand me, that will take away the burden. of me trying to understand myself that I'm constantly faced with. And that is too much responsibility to put on another person. And the second one that made me come to this realization is observing the relationships that work in my life. There's one big relationship in my life that works. Why is our car turning into here? This is the middle of nowhere. Why are you turning into here? That kind of sucks. I might have to cut this part out. Please don't knock over my camera. That was weird. Anyways, the second thing is viewing the, where was I? Jesus Christ, that just distracted me so much. Viewing the relationships that actually work in my life, meaning my parents' relationship, the relationship between my mother and my father. I'll give a brief recap of this. My mother is much more like me, much more of an emotional, emotional in tune person, much more of a vulnerable person. She likes to talk about feelings and understand them and understand people and be empathetic and talk things through. My father is not that. I want to describe it in a way where it doesn't feel like I'm insulting this kind of person, because it's not a bad trait to have. It's just different. They have their own strengths. They're much more direct. They're much more action first, action oriented. They're much more blunt. And sometimes I like nuance, and nuance is very important. But sometimes, to hell with the nuance. Just do the thing, right? Anyways, different people emotionally. They have, I don't want to like put my parents relationship issues on blast, because they watch my videos. Hi, Mom. This is like a relationship issue that almost anybody in this situation, in these two different, oh god, I like pulled a muscle the other day, oh, and it hurts. It's two different situations would have. Like, this is just a normal relationship issue, and it's the same problem I ran into my relationship. One person feels like they're not being understood, and then the other person gets confronted about this, and then they feel like they're not being understood, and it's like this whole vicious cycle. And then one person, usually the more emotionally in tune person, figures that if they were just a little more like this, if they just understood a little better, if there was just something that, by the way, when you do that, you're creating an entirely different person, because that's not that person. When a person is a little more or a little less of something, they're not that person anymore. When you imagine a person and you think, well, if they're just a little more like this or a little less like that, that's a completely different person, because that's a person that isn't doing exactly what they would be doing with all of their life experiences and traumas and mental state and world outlook. You're imagining a completely different person. And I had to learn this the hard way. Anyways, you're imagining a different person that's better suited to you. Like, this relationship is great, but if they could only do this or they could only do that. The kicker is that you're not looking for the one. You're not looking for someone to fully understand you. You're looking for good enough. And that is a common theme in all the relationships that I've seen work in my life. You're looking for the person that's good enough. And that's not in any of the rom-coms or in any of the romance animes, because obviously they have to make it interesting. They have to make the person that fits with this person perfectly. That it's satisfying when they get together. You feel like, yes, finally, like they're meant for each other. But that's not how real life works, because again, there's only 10,000 people in this world of 8 billion people that are really perfect for you, and you're never going to find them. Some people do, but it's like winning the lottery. And like, let me ask you this: whenever you think of love, whenever you think of all the interesting parts or all the fun parts, good enough is what you're looking for. You're looking for the turmoil. You're looking for the discussions and the things that help you grow, that help you change, right? You're not looking for the perfect person. And even if you are, and you find them, maybe they're not the perfect person always. People change. They could be the perfect person for you today, and in 3 months' time, they pick up a new hobby, they watch a certain YouTube video, and they're no longer your perfect person. You are looking for good enough, the person that's going to work with you. Now, complete understanding is an impossible task, but effort creates the good enough. And the relationships that I've seen work are relationships where the other person falls short from one person. In some way, one person in the relationship falls short. And when they do, even if they don't understand, even if they find it asinine, even if it's something they would never do, they try. Effort is real. And effort is also why we find a lot of these relationship shows very interesting, because there is the drama, there is like the triangles and the cheating and the talking to other people and like will they won't they, and but effort and a genuine want for the other person is what makes it so attractive. That part I think is pretty healthy. You should probably always be trying, right? I think that was also like a huge problem in my past relationship. This is also just me. I could also be just off my fucking rocker, right? This is also just observations made by a 22-year-old that's only ever been in one relationship and has observed other people. But if you're looking for the one, you're probably not going to find them. And romance animes build up this ideal of there is this person. And they do that because whoever the main character ends up with was literally written for them to end up with them. That's not how real life works. If God exists, he obviously doesn't do that. Because if he did, a lot more people would be happy, right? There wouldn't be situationships, right? This whole video is like, it's like, don't build unrealistic expectations of what love is or should be based off of these shows, because you're never gonna find the person that was written for you, right? And I had to learn, again, to learn this the hard way here. I'm getting sunburnt out here. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say, and it's just not hitting me. But I feel like there's something very important I'm missing from this video. Got it. All of this has been a setup as to why my expectations going into a relationship were very skewed, and it caused a lot of turmoil that really was within me and not completely on with the other person. But then there's also the problem that these kind of expectations cause when you're already in a relationship. I've heard it too many a time where somebody in a relationship that is a good relationship, it's good for them. This person cares about them. This person tries. This person's there. But they fall short somehow, because we always do. We always do. We always fall short. There's something that you're going to do eventually that the other person's not going to like. And then one person thinks, man, there's just somebody better. There's just somebody that I could be with and I'll click more. And there's somebody I can be with and I can have these better conversations. And there's somebody. There is probably somebody. There's probably somebody. Will you meet them? I don't know. Will they love you? I don't know. Will they have other shortcomings? Probably yes. Will you have these thoughts about them as well, just in a different issue? Probably yes. Could that issue be bigger than the issue you're facing with this person? I don't know. The thing is, right, you're basing your decision, which could be to like leave this person or end things or do something drastic, on something that you and I don't know, and on a lot of things that are confirmed to just be a problem down the line. That's why it sounds so anticlimactic, and it sounds like you're settling. It sounds like, just settle for the person. Don't settle. I'm not telling you to settle. There's a fine line between good enough and settling. Settling would be somebody that's treating you poorly, and you stay with them. Good enough is very different. Good enough is somebody that treats you in a way that you would like to be treated, but there are things about them that they cannot meet in your expectation of them. You probably won't ever meet anyone that's going to fulfill all of your expectations. And some of those expectations are important. I'm not telling you that your need to be heard and your need to be understood is something that's not important and something that shouldn't be strived to achieve. Of course, this person should be putting in effort, especially if it's something important to you. But what I'm going to push back on is the idea that if they were just, make sure I don't drop my bike, that if they were just somebody else, that if they just had this trait, that if they just did a little more or did a little less of this thing, then everything would just be perfect and they would be the one. Sometimes somebody that's good enough and that is trying, because that's a part of good enough, trying, is the perfect one, is the one. Maybe like, you know, the person you were lucky enough to actually meet, to actually interact with, that's the one, right? Maybe it's not the person that you've never met that lives in Norway and doesn't even speak your language, but they've read all of the Harry Potter books and you love Harry Potter and you would just talk about, like, you know, maybe it's just the person you met. Maybe it's just the random chance of it all. That's the romantic part, right? And there's a guy walking to my right, and I'm here in the middle of a roundabout talking to a camera. Anywho, I think that's all from me. I tried to make this one a little more grounded. I'm rambling. Anywho, I hope you all had a good morning. And I'll probably do this again sometime. This was fun. Deuces.